Hi, everybody. This is Raina Terrell, and this is my YouTube channel, How Raina Terrell Sees It. I am coming to you unscripted today with my reaction to the latest developments. I'm sure you've heard by now, but according to CNN.com, R&B singer R. Kelly was found guilty of racketeering and trafficking charges. He could face decades in prison. A lot of his victims came forward. Some people who were participating in some of the misdeeds that R. Kelly was convicted of also testified in court. So to me, it was an open and shut case. Now, I just want to give my reaction. I remember first hearing about R. Kelly's misdeeds with underage girls when I first heard rumors that he and Aaliyah were an item. Of course, you know that R. Kelly produced and written Aaliyah's first album, which was awkwardly named Aged Ain't Nothing But a Number. And I do remember because I was a teenager at that time myself, and I didn't really have a grasp on what statutory RAPE was. I just knew to just stay away from older guys. That's the only thing I knew. But I will say that once I heard the news that R. Kelly married Aaliyah, I was pretty much very shocked. But I didn't grasp the fact that maybe this guy, R. Kelly, should be held accountable. At the time, I didn't quite grasp that. All I knew that as a teenage girl, I knew to stay away from the older guys no matter what they said to you. And that was pretty much the case with my thing with R. Kelly. I was a fan of his music. I really enjoyed a lot of his hit songs. But I will say that even during the time when his SEX tape hit the streets and people were saying, oh, that's him on the tape, and that's, that girl does look very young. I just was very disturbed by that. Cancel culture wasn't really a thing back then, but I still enjoyed his music. I would dance to his songs, and I just thought, okay, I'll just separate the artist from the art. And years later, I realized that was wrong. Then, after he was acquitted, I thought nothing of it again. I know that he continued to make music and continued to tour around the world. And, I just thought nothing of it until I saw that article in BuzzFeed. And it was around in 2017 where he was accused, now that we know that he's convicted of it, of having an SEX cult. And he held a lot of young women against their will. He was abusing them, taking advantage of them. And I was just disgusted by this story. I was so disgusted by this story, I deleted all of his songs from my phone. I threw away his CDs. I was just done with it. It's what sparked the Mute R. Kelly movement, which really spearheaded the grassroots efforts to end R. Kelly's career. And I was all for it. I am a supporter of it to this day. And I think the journalists and the people who really spoke out against R. Kelly, as well as his victims and the producers of the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, which detailed the victim's account of his abuse. My gosh, once I saw Surviving R. Kelly, I said, this guy needs to pay for his crimes. He is a complete monster. I was just aghast at how he was able to get away with so much of these evil deeds. And the only answer that I can think of is not just that he's a celebrity, but I think if it a group of Caucasian girls, I believe R. Kelly's career would have been over and he would have been convicted a long time ago. I believe this entire situation reinforces the simple fact that Black girls and women as sexual assault and abuse survivors or victims are not taken seriously. This notion comes from the stupid stereotype that Black women and girls are oversexed. There's a wide epidemic of people sexualizing Black girls, and that needs to stop. Black girls and women need to be taken seriously. I'm going to paraphrase Malcolm X's quote, and he said, "The most unprotected and the most neglected group of people in America are Black women." And it's really sad to see. It's very sad to see. There's stereotypes of if a Black teenage girl is being abused, she's viewed as fast. She's not viewed as someone who needs to be nurtured. She's viewed as someone who needs to be controlled rather than someone who needs guidance or help. So I think those ideas need to be changed. Now, fast forward to the charges that R. Kelly faced and was eventually convicted of. I think it was a long time coming, and I think he's finally reaping what he has sown. I think regardless of how he started engaging in these bad behaviors, I hear stories that he was taken advantage of by his sister, he and his brother. I just believe that regardless of how his childhood was like, he had no business taking advantage of underage girls and women, period. He had no business doing that. And he has to pay the price. He has to face the consequences for his crimes. And he's finally doing that. He's finally paying for what he has done. While I'm very relieved that R. Kelly is possibly going to be spending the rest of his life in prison because of his crimes, I am saddened that he let his life go. He threw his success away. He threw away all of the accolades just to satisfy his sick urges. I'm saddened that a Black man is viewed as a predator. I'm also saddened that it took so long for his victims to get accountability. This isn't going to heal them. This will give them some kind of solace that their voices are finally being heard. But I know that they must be relieved because justice is finally being served on their behalf. Now, I think in order to turn the tide on abuse against Black girls and women, we just need to start holding our uncles, our cousins, our brothers, even our fathers accountable for domestic abuse, for taking advantage of girls and women, for any other crime against women. Hopefully this will open up a can of worms and hopefully this is the beginning of people being held accountable for their crimes against Black women and girls. That's definitely what I'm hoping. My prayers are for R. Kelly's victims, known and unknown, and for every victim and survivor of sexual abuse and assault. Thank you for watching. Be blessed.